All right, what's up, y'all? Here we go, my boy Thoughts here. So we finna be talking about old media and their plan, not even plan, their method of deceiving the fans to not like certain fighters, particularly outside fighters of certain ethnic groups. So let's,
Man, you might as well just call it what it is.
yeah, yeah, we can call it what it is.
They don't like American fighters, right?
Let's go. Got to
But
record
if
it.
we talking about American fighters, so we know every American-born Mexican fighter flies under what banner? Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Every American-born Puerto Rican fighter claims Puerto Rico. So that leaves you with two types of fighters. White Americans and Black Americans are the only people who fly the American banner, and
Yeah.
we have like maybe who we got uh Sweet Hands Plant, and that's it, and then everybody else is black.
Mm-hmm.
So without saying, they talking about black fighters. So the whole
Yep.
slick outboxer style is what they tried to get up out of boxing.
Yeah.
Uh
Sweet.
and they did it with like Jedi mind control by basically saying, hey, you won, but that was boring.
Yep.
And so they tried to convince guys who was able to use their feet for defense, who was able to use their feet for angles, use their feet for separation and everything else. Basically, with superior footwork, they tried to convince them to stay in the pocket so they can get beat on by Mexican fighters and they can get beat on, especially by Eastern European fighters. That was their goal. So they could stay in the pocket and get beat on by Kovalev, Sobransky,
Mm-hmm.
Edward Trojanowski, all those guys. Uh, that was their goal for them to get beat on by them. Their plan backfired because even out of Eastern European fighters, guess who emerged? The pure boxers like Bivol.
Mm-hmm.
So you still ended up with the classic outboxer style, slick fighter reigning supreme, but that was their goal. And so what I was saying earlier, even before I showed you Teddy Atlas quote, is
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people won't admit this and they don't do the timeline. But before Rigondeaux got his ass beat by Lomachenko, they convinced Rigondeaux to stay in the pocket more. Rigondeaux used to use his feet a lot more. So then he gets in the ring with Lomachenko and he says, hey, I'm going to stay in the pocket. And he gets the shit kicked out of him because he fought a completely different style than he was accustomed to fighting. And it seemed like that was their goal to begin with. Again, to get you to stay in one place so you can get beat on by Eastern European fighters. So that brings us to the Teddy Atlas quote where he's calling Stevenson boring for putting hands on somebody. Basically, essentially standing in the pocket, putting hands on somebody. Wasn't milling about, wasn't holding, none of this. He called them boring. And that's that classic old media tactic.
Yep.
But if
I
that was boring,
100%.
then you're not a fan of boxing.
Nope.
It's just like there's people who watch golf. There ain't shit exciting about golf unless you're a golf fan. If you ever watched a golf match and you said it's boring, then you're not a golf fan.
Right up. You ask
So
me.
you cannot call yourself a boxing fan and say that boxing is boring, especially a match that ends in a stoppage, that has two knockdowns in a stoppage. How is that boring?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's all Jedi mind control to say, hey, this is the real exciting guy. And they tried this shit, and not only did they fail, HBO got ran completely up out of boxing. And again, the Eastern European fighters that emerged, they wasn't even playing their game.
Mm-hmm.
Usyk ain't playing that game. Usyk ain't playing this. Oh, we taking over boxing. They never even participated in what was borderline racial politics. They
Yeah.
just fought their fight. Kovalev was one of the ones who was willing to go all out with this shit. But uh, shit, Kovalev is nowhere now.
Mm-hmm.
But that was their goal all along, to get fighters to stay in the pocket. And then I was talking about how Anthony Durrell had did that shit. No, Andre Durrell, not Anthony, Andre, and he got his ass whooped. And a few
Mm-hmm.
fighters, I felt I would have to do my research to get everybody, but a lot of people changed their style. What was fortunate for us as American fans was that we had Andre Ward, we had Timothy Bradley, and we had Terrence Crawford, who all know how to fight in the inside. And so you was able to have a Tim Bradley knock off a Ruslan Provodnikov. You was able to have a Andre Ward knock off Kovalev. And then Crawford didn't even get to knock off Edor Troyanowski because Undago knocked his ass out. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why you ended up with that two title versus two title fight. But Crawford was supposed to fight the Eastern European Edor Troyanowski, but he got his ass knocked out. And so,
Ah.
yeah, that's what they were setting up. So as all those Eastern European fighters fail, you know, we back to square one. Now they're starting it again. And to add insult to injury, Paulie Malignaggi uh told Shakur Stevenson that his time was over and it was the reign of the Eastern European. He told him that. He told him like the African American reign is over. Recently.
Mm.
Like he said it. This is why people like Paulie got fired and shit. Because he
Yeah.
didn't know how to be discreet about it. His ass came out and said it. He said the reign of the African American is over. It's the Eastern European time.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, you got Bivol, you got Beterbiev, which again, I don't really get into the politics. I'm not gonna make the media, I'm not gonna allow the media hatred for fighters that I like make me hate other fighters. So I'm still gonna be a fan of Bivol and Beterbiev,
But
and Usyk. Lomachenko, not so much, because he already lost twice.
yeah.
So they could never even hold him up there. He couldn't even pass the Mexican test.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, like man, just on the topic of how like people like Teddy Allison, commentators back in the day with HBO, when they project that boring title on the fighters, particularly black fighters, pretty much it makes them look less interesting to watch, or even maybe possibly by pay-per-view. You could go example with Crawford, Ward. People say Ward couldn't sell. Many more. Andre, like it's a lot of boxes. If you guys go back and look, like man, it could have been the effect of these guys tightening them. Like, oh, they're not going in the inside enough, and pretty much trying to get them to fight outside their game plan and style. And yeah, man, it worked somewhat, but basically, um, as you can see, uh, the fighters who it didn't work on, like Crawford, Andre Ward, people who pretty much were like, you know, talented fighters who can adjust. You see, they kind of still went far, survived pretty much. They didn't fall off. But the fighters who did, man, like, I can't really name them because honestly, some of the fighters who use the style, it was so long ago, but I could say one was Guillermo, my guy I mentioned, Timothy Bradley, maybe even Devin Alexander at one point in time. Um,
Yeah, Timothy
fucking,
Bradley stood with Provodnikov. He stood toe to toe.
mm-hmm. And he really like shit. He at first I remember Bradley wasn't trying to do all that, but that's something that he like, hey, this is what the fans want. Let me do it.
Yeah, a lot of people went out of their way to put on quote unquote
Right.
exciting fights. But here's the funny thing:
Mm-hmm.
while they putting on quote unquote exciting fights, Mayweather was the biggest seller, and he was going 12 every time.
Right.
You know what I
Crack in the
mean?
matrix right there, guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Mhm.
like you coming up with this theory, and you coming up with this theory who's gonna sell or why they selling, and then you got a guy who's actually selling, fighting in this
Right.
style, and it's work. but you want everybody else to change their style. I just felt like they wanted to get everybody beat. I really felt like it was a
Yeah.
Jedi mind trick. They wasn't trying to make boxing more exciting. They was trying to make the guys they wanted to win. And
Mm-hmm.
the reasoning behind it, it can only be one reason. So the reasoning behind it is like what I just said. American boxing is like American boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Yep.
if a Mexican is born here, they're gonna get in the ring 9 times out of 10 when the Mexican play. If a Puerto Rican, even if he's born in New York, he's gonna represent Puerto Rico. Dominican, whatever. Everybody else that could trace their lineage back to their country, to another country, is gonna fly that banner. The only
Yeah.
people who fly the American banner are white American and black Americans, and there are, man, I don't know too many white American boxers
Yeah.
that are title holders at this point, or even contention. Hell, even Cody Crowley is Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, like, talking about the United States of America, you're talking about African American fighters. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a fact. If you can't deal with that, I mean, that's on you. I've gave you my explanation, but that's it. They was trying to strip them away from something that they earned. If they were the top, Mayweather was
Mm-hmm.
the top. You know what I mean? If they were on top of the game with this classic outboxing style,
Excuse me.
why would they change it? And they did the same thing to the Cubans. Landy Laura.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention. Even Landy Laura standing in the pocket more. They didn't like him moving. They called him boring. So the Cubans they got hit with a stray as well when they came over
Yeah.
here. Yeah, so it was like we said, Rigondeaux, another Cuban. They got hit with the same stray of these guys are boring.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of changed their style. Like I said, they got beat because they changed their style. You really could attribute some of these losses
Oh
to
my God. I got some too.
to
No,
the
you
Jedi
continue
mind trick.
talking. Ooh, look at this.
What?
Look at this, man. That's my guy telling you guys. Look at the top 10. So this is back in 2014. This is around the time HBO was around, guys. That's my guy was just explaining. Let's look at the 10 boxers that they had who were unfairly giving the boring label or just boring. Look. Look at that. Klitschko. Look at this. Now we got Chad. Like, come on, Chad. He was boring. Really? Marquez or Miguel Vasquez. Timothy, he was boring. Like,
Yeah, Timothy Bradley was boring allegedly. Devin Alexander.
look. It's too bad that he nearly got killed in the ring to earn them out.
I told you. A lot of people changed their style.
Look, Devin
He fought
Alexander. I even
Provodnikov that way because
because I
they
remember
said he
Devin.
was
I used to
boring.
watch him, bro. He was a bro. Hey, we can do this all day, guys. Like I say, comment, like, subscribe. It's my guy thoughts, man. We touching on a touchy subject, but hey, it is what it is. We're grown
Yeah,
people here,
subscribe,
so
Boxing Thoughts and more. Subscribe to this channel. But
yep.
they
Matter of fact, let me add
and
that
I go
too.
front. I'm from where Devin from. Devin did get a little boring, but they put that
Right.
title on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Hopkins.
Yep.
That's they put it on Hopkins. See against Hopkins, uh,
We already know.
Crawford, Ward. They fight on the inside.
Guillermo, Floyd. Yo, it's so crazy, man. And as I'm looking on these articles, it's man, bro. Why is back at 2013? Let's see. Do they have a list or were they just chatting? Let's see this list. Oh, see, they didn't even have a list. They just
They got Devin Alexander right there. Devin Alexander's another fighter. Floyd Mayweather.
oh my bad. Let me see.
I'm just kind of scraping through. Yep, they even put Guillermo Rigondeaux on that list. What was wrong with them? Yeah, Benoit Hopkins. So they talking about the list.
Mm.
Yeah,
Let me
and
see.
they say right there before his fight, Ruslan Provannikov,
My
that
bad.
basically they almost killed Bradley.
Yeah.
You see right there where it say before his fight with Ruslan Provannikov, I
Yep.
hated
I
Tim
hated.
Bradley. He was so boring and a dirty
Mhm.
fighter. He had a habit of headbutting you. I am curious how he will do with a veteran fighter like Juan Manuel Marquez. He beat the shit out of Marquez.
Yep. Yeah, I see it here, guy. Like it's just we're not making anything up. See, even a channel talks about it. Isaac Cruz, fighters of today, labeling current boxers. Look, Shakur. Like, I mean, trying
They
to
want them to
find.
stand there and get beat on.
Yeah, man. So yeah, man, just touching on this.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are some fighters that maybe
Ooh,
clinch too much, but
right.
yeah,
Here's
go
an
ahead and click on
article where
that
they
one.
got. Yeah, they got one where Crawford. How born is he? Like you, yeah, it's crazy, bro. See, my
Yeah,
boy was right. My boy
and
was.
that's why I was telling you about Crawford. Crawford changed his style. He's more aggressive. So when people are like, oh, Crawford could outbox you easily, but
This is
Crawford was
crazy,
tough.
man.
It was an undefeated Russian dude. And Crawford took him 12, and I think of his name. They all
Dang, bro. That's what it say. The big Chris Crawford was he could have done more, but Andre Kalov did almost nothing for 8 rounds.
yeah,
I'm
that's the dude
actually,
right there that he beat.
yep, I actually do remember that. Dudes are defeated too. Crawford busted up the aggressive pre-stress up stop. Similarly tough Alejandro Sanabara. So we know he's capable of being more silent as it was. He was aggressive against Klimov. The route he landed the hardest punches. It did so despite being able to get away with the exact same decision victory result. No frontless than he did. Not unlike Marino, he has a fast demeanor, and not unlike Mayweather in war, he is good defensively and has dominated fights. Is he sees us with the ability to do more? He has more natural. Oh, okay. He's comfortable with leading than either of them. Mm, okay, they got Gamma rigging now. This man, this is crazy, bro. You
Bro,
man,
tell you they sat there, called
set
that man boring. He changed his style to appease them, and he got beat on by Lomachenko. I'm not saying he would have won, but I'm saying he definitely didn't have a chance of winning after giving in to their criticism.
no. Let's see like this right here, y'all. Like so he knock out guys like King. Look,
And it
so
wasn't
people
that
say
Rigondeaux was boring. Rigondeaux stepped back and he would counter you, but
exactly,
guys wouldn't lead anymore because they was getting countered.
man. They do the same thing right now. History repeating itself.
Yeah, but now you really ain't got no boring fighters.
Yeah, yeah. Even though you have Teddy or these old media people who
Now they're trying to
refuse.
recreate something that ain't there.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
Shakur already
Again.
standing in the pocket. Crawford
Mm-hmm.
already knocking people out. You don't Devin is probably the only 12 round every go round fighter you got. Even Tank knocking people out. So now the
Yeah.
criticism has to be completely different. Now the criticism will probably be based on competition. But I guarantee you, if someone else fight that same competition, they ain't gonna have the same criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Ryan Garcia, they was talking about, oh, Ryan fought Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell was an Olympian, right? And then these same people be like, well, Crawford ain't fought nobody. Crawford fought plenty of Olympians. Hell, Mean
I'm about to
Machine was
say that.
an Olympian. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Gold medalist, couple. Felix
Yeah,
Diaz,
fought a
Aaron
couple
Bro.
gold medalists. Do he get
Right.
any credit for fighting a gold medal? No, they said he ain't fought nobody. So you gotta say it's all a Jedi mind trick to give
Yes.
one guy
Break that
credit
down. Mm-hmm.
and take away credit from another guy.
Yeah. Say that much. Yeah.
And eventually,
Yeah.
like I said, they want everybody standing there getting beat on. Now I do suggest that every prospect If your coach ain't teaching you how to fight inside, you need to get a new trainer.
Yeah,
Because that
I agree.
holding on the inside is stupid. We just watched two
Yes, we
prospects
did.
take a
As of
step
today,
back, you know.
last night, my
Bunch, and I'm
bad.
thinking of the guy, take a
Mm-hmm.
step back because they was holding it inside and not being competent on how to fight and posturing and stuff like that. Even if the guy gets on the inside 10 times and you win 3 of them, well, hell, if you're already up several rounds, that's going to benefit you. You just driving it home now, you know. But yeah, that's what it was. They did that shit to get fighters to stand there and get beat on so they can promote Eastern European fighters. And again, they wanted to promote the Eastern European fighters because I guess they assumed the UFC is doing so much better than boxing because the UFC has more white representation.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you pay attention to the UFC used to be heavy Brazil, and it's not no more. Even the UFC is more Eastern European now.
Yeah.
You got to realize, they go get, they go over to Ireland and get in, everything they doing is like they're trying to, they're without saying it, they're almost saying that, hey, America's not going to support you if you don't look like this.
Mm,
So it's not
yeah.
even on the fighters. They're almost saying that the fans are racist.
Mm.
When you think about it, they're saying there's nothing wrong with the product other than there's a black person on it. If we can take the black person off product and put a white person on there, even if this white person don't speak English, then we'll have a bigger fan base. So they're accusing the fans of this. When you
Yeah.
think about it, and maybe they're telling the truth. I know the shit didn't work in boxing. I know HBO is gone.
Right.
I know that.
Yeah.
I know the PBC was whooping their ass up until they made some pretty. I think PBC made a few mistakes, but I know the PBC was came in kicking ass, and the
Mhm.
PBC signed a bunch of American fighters initially. I think they dropped the ball with this newer generation because they have almost none of them. They didn't get the Keyshawn's or the Shakors or the Devins. I think they definitely dropped the ball now, but a couple years ago, that's why they was able to shine. But that's all it is, man. They just that's all we're pretty much discussing. It's just
Yep. Yep.
how the media trying to Jedi mind trick fighters into fighting a fight that's not beneficial to them, so they can get beat on
Yes.
by
Mm-hmm.
somebody else. So they can get beat on by, I guess, an Eastern European or even a Mexican fighter at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So they ran out Eastern European fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit crazy though. But nobody takes that into account when they talk about No Maschenko.
Yep.
That
Yep.
that prior to No Maschenko, you basically convinced his opponents to stand still. Not all of them, but enough.
Well,
So yeah, I forgot who Laura. Who did Laura? Laura lost to Hurd.
yeah.
Yeah, Laura lost to Hurd. But yeah, they convinced Laura to. He took a setback in his career because they convinced him to stay in the pocket more, which Laura has kind of perfected it now. But that wasn't his style initially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and it ain't about selling. Even if Shakur Stevenson don't do good today, look at all the other events that was around his event. That's terrible promotion.
Yeah. We get to the promotion part. Yeah.
Now we're getting to you don't even have. I mean, there's so much going on today, man.
It was, man. Like UFC,
You
PBC
had
started
like the
about.
NCAA hockey
Yeah.
championship going on, like that happened. You had UFC, you had a Showtime card, you had a DAZN card, you got the basketball wrapping up. Basketball season coming to an end, pretty much. I think they got what 1 or 2 games left, and people trying to figure out where they land. I mean, people was sportsed out by the time Shakur even came on.
Mm-hmm.
So you had even look at Shakur moment. So Shakur dominates, right? He trended on Twitter for what 30 minutes, and then Fandora gets knocked out, and he trends on Twitter for 30 minutes, and then Izzy knock out, his nemesis, and now Fandora and Shakur barely trending.
Mm-hmm.
Like he don't even get his moment to be special because that's bad promotion. And I could tell you that is just being I used to promote club parties, and I ain't gonna lie and say I was good at it. But if I was lucky enough to promote a date where nothing was going on, it was packed.
Yeah.
But if I didn't pay attention to other events, like one time I
Mm.
promoted a Halloween party and some of the bigger promoters in town was throwing a Halloween party, and shit, it was like 20 people there. You got to pay attention to what else going on. If ain't nobody got shit to do and you got something to do, then everybody will do that. So yeah, man, I don't know. Like I didn't even want to think that way about Teddy Atlas because I didn't feel that way about him. But shit, he complicit too, man. That's crazy. Straight call that man boring. How you a boxing fan and you don't like boxing? You still there?
Yeah, I was just, but nah, yeah, I had to do some work. But no, y'all, like, appreciate y'all. This gonna be uploaded. I gonna catch the playback. But nah, man, yeah, man, we just kind of just discussing something that's really been ongoing for a while, and we're kind of seeing it firsthand, and just like repeating itself, like the old media and the Jedi mind tricks, like my guy said, that these commentators and different networks, put on fighters, they may not like because they're beating their fighter that they're vested in. How that just like translates to people calling that fighter boring and make them move interest in the fighter. So yeah, man, it's just a whole lot to it, but yeah. It's just something we feel like was worthy of being touched on.
Yeah,
So
because it's coming back. Because it came and went, and now it looked like it's coming back. They don't have as much power right now. See, now you got the boring guy Timothy Bradley calling fights. You got
hmm
Sean Porter and them calling fights. So you got representation calling fights now. So it's a little different. You got Andre Ward calling fights. So the same guys you shamed are really in the media. You ain't gonna watch too many fights without hearing Timothy Bradley, Andre Ward, or Sean Porter at this point. So, you know, the good thing is, yeah, Teddy Atlas can say what he wants to, but even Ellie Setback was able to look at that and be like, yeah, man, you being biased. Or you being a hater. So the tricks ain't gonna work the same because they out of power. HBO boxing is gone. So the whole echo chamber is gone now.
yep.
Yeah, so that's the good part is now it's just petty. Now it's just tweeting. But that ain't gonna rock. That ain't gonna rock with no real boxing fans. You got a whole bunch of fans that even appreciate Devin Haney right now. That ain't it ain't gonna rock with no real boxing fans. It's too late. They've already been defeated.
hmm
Now that we can thank the LDBC for.
hmm
We got to give them their credit for that, even though they turned to some Crawford haters. But we got to give
That's
them.
another story.
Yeah, that's another story. But we got to give them their credit for taking down old media because yeah, old media tried to go crazy on us.
Mm-hmm.
and they ain't have no, they ain't have nothing slowing them down. They ain't have no resistance until people started talking about it on YouTube. But now it's resistance, and they ain't even got they don't have the echo chamber no more. Like Teddy Atlas looked bad. He's like a straight hater.
Mm-hmm.
Paulie Malignaggi looked silly telling Devin and Shakur Stevenson that it's over for black fighters and it's the wave of the Eastern European. And now Max Kellerman trying to convince Devin Haney that even if he beat Lomachenko, Lomachenko is old. You know what I mean? So like now they just switching everything up.
Yeah.
Because is Lomachenko better than Mayweather or not? Because didn't nobody whoop a 35-year-old Mayweather ass.
Mm-hmm.
Canelo, none of them. You know. But here we go. It ain't the same. Like I said, it's they don't have the same power anymore. So
Yeah.
that's the good news. Yeah, man. But that's pretty much all I want to talk about. You got anything else you want to mention?
No, man. I'll say it again, y'all. Subscribe to my other guy, Boxing Thoughts and More. Let me actually add his actual channel. So y'all can subscribe to him. And yeah, man. Like I say, stay tuned. I'm gonna upload more breakdown videos, stuff like that. So
All
yeah,
right.
man. So
Well, we out.
yeah, man. We out, man. Peace.
All right.
Yeah, man.